final race of the weekend in the Speed Group F1000 Championship. We've seen some really good racing already, particularly the reverse grid format in race 2. But before the cars get out onto track, we took some time out to have a chat with some of the drivers. Firstly, the youngest driver on the grid, Rob Welham. Rob, congratulations on being the youngest driver out here. It's quite a mixed field to be racing against.
Yeah, definitely. It's my first time here. We didn't have Friday to test. Came straight into qualifying, then qualified 9th. Then that race we finished 6th, which is awesome for us. It's awesome confidence-wise, and it shows I can do it no matter the age.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the good things is that there's such a mix of age and abilities within the F1000 Championship that anyone can come in and really start to prove themselves.
Yeah, definitely think it's a good step towards from karting to here. Maybe have a couple of test days in the car, but I definitely feel like this is the best championship to come into, and it will actually show who is actually a good driver in a single seat, not an open or not a closed wheel car.
And what's really good about F1000 is the fact that the regulations are quite tightly controlled, the championship is close, it's not a money championship, it really is about driver skill.
Yeah, definitely about skill and money. It's we struggle with money and we struggle to even do karting, but this championship provides us of the best sort of racing, the best sort of close racing, and we feel like it's the best. That's why we came to this class.
Well, it's been great speaking to you, Rob. We'll let you get ready with your race preparations and speak to you soon.
Thank you.
One of the good things about the F1000 Championship is that it enables drivers to come in and out as and when possible. And Marc Fortune, one of the drivers who's come in, you're here this weekend for one weekend only, and it's great to see you back on the grid.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back. I had a good day testing on Friday to try and get used to the car and the track again. Managed 80 laps without any problems. Yesterday, good qualifying for my standard, but unfortunately the engine went in the race, so I needed 1 lap. And today, unfortunately, I got a bit too excited, and on the first lap I went in a bit too hot with cold tyres and ended up in the gravel pit. So I'm looking forward to this last race to try and end the weekend on a good note. But no, it's good to be back. I'm really enjoying it.
What's from me as an outsider looking in, it's good to see that because the regulations are so tight and are so well controlled, that anybody such as yourself who's raced previously can come back in and almost immediately be competitive.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think my problem is obviously track time. I think if you're away for a while, you forget things. I'm not as smooth as I used to be. Track time is so important, I think, in racing, but it's just going to take time. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, coming back in, the car's competitive. It's just down to the driver to do a good job, I think.
And talking of which, is there any chance for you to come back again later this season, or are you looking more to next year?
More to next year. I think this year I'm going to do Donington. Crofts a bit too soon for me because it's only a few weeks away. I think Castle Combe is. Crofts a possibility, but definitely Donington.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully best of luck in this final race.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lloyd. Well, the cars are out on the grid now, ready for their final encounter of the day, and a really important one this is as well. Here's how they line up then. It's Sayell and Butcher on the front row, ahead of Watton and Walker on row 2. Dan Clowes has to come from the 3rd row this time, alongside Iyengar. Then it's Rob Bailey and Dax Ward on the 4th row. Row number 5 for Rob Welham and Alwyn Rhodes-Mays, Andrew Wheals and Peter Lague on the 6th row, with Marc Fortune, who we just heard from, at the back. So, Paul Butcher has finally got that first victory of the season. Can he add to the tally here in race 3? The lights go out, away we go, and Sayell it is who will hang on to the race lead. Butcher, just about finds a gap in 2nd place, so he chops down to the inside line. He's already in the tow, and you can really see the slipstream start to take effect there. He goes to the inside line, to the outside line. Sayell is going to hang on, I think, is he? Just about, but that was close quarter stuff. Watton and Clowes side by side for 3rd, so Dan has already got himself up out of 5th position and onto terms with his main rivals, but Paul Butcher leads. Paul Butcher has found a way through to the race lead, but then he ran wide going through Yentwood, and I reckon that possibly Sayell has found a way back up the inside. Let's wait until we see them again to be sure. Get a good view there of Marc Fortune towards the back. Yes, it is still Sayell from Butcher, from Watton, from Clowes, the top 4, but Paul Butcher on it here in the early going. He wants another race victory. Down towards Kirby they go then, for the first time of asking. There is Dan Clowes, who really needs to beat Michael Watton in this race. He will not be pleased at all if Michael beats him in all 3 races, but Michael is going for second place on the side of Butcher. Oh no! Oh, contact, both of them off the road. Michael Watton, the championship leader, in big trouble. He's pointing the right way, but as he stalled the car, Paul Butcher has tangled with Michael Watton. They're both at the back of the field, but miraculously, in cars that are notoriously easy to stall once they get pointing the wrong way, they have both been able to continue, but that was real drama. Now, is there any damage to either of the cars? Because if there isn't, then they should both be able to make good progress back up the order. But just as I was saying how important it was that Dan Clowes beats Michael Watton in this race to try and claw back some of the championship points that he lost in races 1 and 2, and all of a sudden the reigning champion and the current championship leader is in all sorts of bother. He thankfully hasn't dropped that far behind the tail end of the field though, so he dives up the inside of Alwyn Road's maze and gains another position coming out onto the pit straight, or his first position of what he hopes will be many gained. But that was real drama at Graceland's on the opening lap. So, deep breath everyone, we've still got a long way to go in this one, but that has really changed the complexion of the race and potentially the championship, because remember, Michael Watton has already had 2 disappointing results. He can't afford to have another one because he's used up all of his drop score allocations now. So another couple of bad results for Michael, and all of a sudden he's losing a lot of points to Dan Clowes, who has been Mr. Consistency all year long. Remember, he's only been off the podium 3 times this year, and on all 3 of those occasions he's finished 4th, so he's barely missed the podium all year long. And well, at the moment, if things were to finish as they are now, Dan would move back into the lead of the championship. So checking in with some of the midfield battles for the time being, Rob Welham there closing in on Dax Ward. That's the red and white car of Ward, the blue and fluorescent yellow there, car number 5 with the Union flag on the side is newcomer Rob Welham, 16-year-old, making his first circuit racing appearance. And they're both in behind Iyengar, and I think behind them is Rob Bailey, who led that opening lap in race 2, remember, from the reverse grid pole. So Rob Bailey, who's been in the thick of the action all day long, it would seem. So too is Rob Welham, though, although some of that self-inflicted after the jump start in race 2. On board with Paul Butcher then. So Paul, I think, came out of all of that in, well, yes, he was still behind Sayell, wasn't he? So he lost even more ground than Robert. So he's got lots of work to do. Of course, Paul, technically, once drop scores are taken into account, is still in championship contention, but really could do with a few more race wins like he had in this morning's second race of the weekend. Welham there challenging Dax Ward with Iyengar directly in front of them, so a 3-car battle here. Well, it's usually the second race, the reverse grid race, that's the most entertaining, but this one already has had its fair share of drama. On board with Peter Lague, a bit further down the order now, as he works the number 9 car through the S's. First started racing back in 1965, and he's he's off. What happened there? That's the front right wheel's come off. That all of a sudden Peter Lague's right front wheel departed company with the rest of the car, and that, well, it shocked me, and I think it caught Peter's attention as well, because, well, the car's stuck in the gravel, clearly going no further. His race done, but that was a very bizarre way to end your weekend here at Rockingham. Whoops, Rob Welham nearly ended his and Dax Ward's weekend at Rockingham a bit early there. He outbraked himself a bit going into the Brook chicane. That's a shame for Peter Lague, though. It's not really been, the last couple of rounds really actually haven't really been filled with good luck, have they? So, back with Paul Butcher. That's another place, of course, gained for he and Rob Sayell. To try now and gain another one on Rob Bailey. Pulls to the outside of Rob, that's brave. You can see the marbles on the circuit there, the loose chunks of rubber that get torn off the tyres at high speed and then discarded around the outside of the track, and right around the outside of the track went Rob Bailey as he tried to fight back and retake that position, but ended up shooting off straight down the escape road, I think. So there is Robert Sayell, leader of the race, winner already this weekend at Rockingham. Can he take his 3rd win of the season in this 3rd and final race of the year? You know, he's missed 5 races this year, and yet he's still, well, with this result, if he can win this race, he'll be inching in towards the top 5 in the championship as we go safety car. So, safety car call, that must be because of Peter Lague's car that's stranded at the side of the road down at Kirby, and a wheel in the gravel trap as well, which they'll definitely want to move. So, recovery vehicle, you can see, is incoming, and the rest of the field will bunch up behind the safety car. That's bad news for Sayell, though, because he had got that little margin, hadn't he, over Dan Clowes, which of course now will disappear. Dax Ward waving to the competition, telling them that, just in case they hadn't seen the safety car before, telling them that he was about to slow down for the safety car. The last thing you want to do is slam on the anchors when the safety car gets brought out, only to then get rear-ended by the car behind, whose driver maybe didn't quite spot what was going on. So, Sayell in behind the pace car then, and you can see the sizable margin that he had over, well, where is Clowes? I think Dan maybe's backed off a bit more as the safety cars come out, but Robert Sayell, for the second time this weekend, will be behind the safety car. But for the first time, he will be the man leading the safety car queue. Then it's Clowes second, then it's Adam Walker in third place. Now, when was Adam last on the podium? He hasn't had a podium since those two that he had at Brands Hatch. So those 2 second places that he had, the meeting at which he was awarded driver of the weekend. And Adam Walker currently running in third place, so he could get his third podium finish of the year if he can hang on. However, this safety car, of course, the other thing it's done is it's allowed it's allowed Watton and Butcher, Paul Butcher we were on board with there, Michael Watton, the blue car just in front of him, it's allowed them to regain some lost time onto the back of the pack as well. Of course, they lose some laps in which they can make progress, but some of the progress is made anyway for them by the fact that the leaders have suddenly been pegged back by the safety car, everyone bunches back up, so they have a chance maybe to get out there and once the safety car comes in, continue to make progress up the order. Of course, they'll be hoping that the safety car goes in fairly quickly. They're grateful to see the safety car, but now they want it to disappear back off into the pit lane because it's done its job as far as they're concerned. It's bunched the field up, it's allowed them to close in, and now they'd rather like it to get out of the way, thank you very much, so that they can continue racing. But of course, safety has to be the priority. Have to get that car of Peter Lague out of the way. But you can see Watton there weaving the blue car number 1, so he's in 2, 4, 6th, 7th place at the moment is Michael, and Paul Butcher in 8th. Just ahead of Marc Fortune, then Andrew Wheals. And then also in that group we had Alan Rhodes Mays, who has a new sponsor this year, Rude Wines, one of his main sponsors this season. And the car may be running around at the back, but I'm sure with a bit more time, it's only his second meeting with the championship, that we'll see Rhodes Mays get a little bit further towards the sharp end, which would be nice to see. We always want more cars and more drivers to be up there mixing it with the big boys and fighting for race victories. We've seen Adam Walker do that on occasion this year. Iyengar, of course, got himself that podium finish at Snetterton as well. Elliot Mitchell, who we haven't seen out since Snetterton, but he got himself a podium that weekend as well. So we have had other drivers on the podium. The wins have been shared out between just the 4 drivers now that Paul Butcher has got that maiden win. Coming into this weekend, it was just 3 different winners. We've now had a 4th, and you'd have to look towards the likes of Adam Walker really as the man most likely to become the next winner, because he's had those 2 second places. I think maybe one of those drivers who is a bit better suited to the more technical circuits. Brands Hatch, Snetterton, Cadwell, they suit him quite well, but Rockingham, he's just tailed off a little bit this weekend, although he is running in 3rd place. Ward there running inside the top 5 again as well. He's been flirting with top 5s all year really. In fact, his finish in race number 2, that 7th place finish, I think I'm right in saying was his best finish of the year, so that was the closest he'd got to a top 5. I wonder whether he can maybe break into the top 5 this time. He'll have hard work though, because he's going to be one of the first drivers that comes under the attention of the recovering Watton and Butcher pair. I think we're going to go green flag again this time, hopefully. We'll see if we can catch a glimpse maybe of how the recovery process is going. Well, I don't see any sign of any marshals or recovery vehicles, or crucially Peter Lague's 3-wheeled F1000 car, so I think we're good to go racing again this time. The safety car appears to have pulled away from the field. I think the lights have gone out, so we should have a green flag once again this time, with probably somewhere in the region of 5 minutes of racing still to do. See there, Sayell really bunching the field up. Dan Clowes trying to stay with him, trying to anticipate when will Rob hit that loud pedal and try to pull away. Very difficult being second in line. It's almost easier to be the 3rd or 4th car in line because you can anticipate it a bit better. You can see when the leader accelerates, and then you've got a bit more warning before the cars around you start to pull away. Sayell not doing what we saw Paul Butcher doing in race 2. He's backed them up until halfway down the school straight. Now he stands on it. But Dan Clowes has gone with him, having just said that it's easier when you're the third or fourth car in the queue. Well, the third car in the queue, Adam Walker, did not get a great restart, so the top two have pulled away slightly. Walker now starting to build up some momentum, pulling back away from the Iyengar, Ward and Welham trio behind him. But we go underneath the starting gantry, the green flag is back out, the race is back underway, and really much of the attention now has to be on the recovery drives for Michael Watton and Paul Butcher, because at the front of the field, well, thus far this weekend at least, Dan Clowes has not really shown that he's got the pace to challenge the race leader Rob Sayell on pace alone, so it could stay fairly static at the front. It's the progress of these two drivers I'm interested in, because there already you can see Michael Watton is fishing around behind Dax Ward, trying to pick his pocket and build up another position through Chapman. Dax is hanging on though, in every corner that he defends from the two cars behind, then the further behind the leaders they will fall. Just in front of those two, Iyengar and a very sideways Rob Welham, who runs a bit deep into Kirby. Rob looking for a good finish in this one though, has a best finish so far of 6th in the first race, of course, didn't finish race 2, so you'd like to better that if at all possible. So down towards Tarzan, you can see Dan Clowes actually coming under pressure from Adam Walker now, so we're sort of treating Clowes' second place as a given. Rob Welham dives to the inside of Iyengar, and I think he's going to make that one work. A really nice move, although Alok, they always bang wheels on the exit of the corner. Alok will have the inside line down towards the Brook chicane though, and will hang on to 4th place. But Rob Welham wants that 4th place desperately from him behind. Michael Watton has now found a way past Dax Ward. Crucially for Michael, Paul Butcher has not followed him through, although Paul has a much better exit from the chicane. Gets into the slipstream across the start-finish line. He's going to surely try and attack down towards the Dean hairpin this time. So we could have a change on there as well. Rob Welham once again alongside Iyengar as they rounded turn 1. But all of this dicing allowing this man, Robert Sayell, to just streak away at the front of the field. Still Clowes 2nd, Walker 3rd, Iyengar 4th-ish, but he was under a lot of pressure from Rob Welham the last we saw of them. Let's see if we hang back long enough to see where they are. Yes, we are going to. And they're side by side, and Rob Welham goes through. And Iyengar, well, did he make contact there maybe with the front end of Michael Watton's car? He was so desperate to get that switch back and get back up the inside of Rob Welham. He turned straight across the bows of the championship leader. Well, I think they just about avoided significant contact, but Michael Watton, again, frustrated in his attempts to move up the order. Paul Butcher is now right behind him again, so Paul, you can see, in the purple and yellow car, has got himself past Dax Ward. Michael Watton, though, is closing on Iyengar up towards Graceland, goes for it up the inside line. This is the corner, remember, where he said after race 2 he'd been struggling a little bit, but he's not struggling here. He dives up the inside and he makes the move stick. So, 5th position now for Michael Watton. 4th place will be Rob Welham if he can find a way past him, and then he starts reaching the tougher nuts to crack at the front of the field. A podium finish though could still be on the cards here for Michael. Rob Sayell comes out of the banking, time starting to tick down now, though we're getting into the latter stages of this race. I think we may be going on to the final lap here. Yes, we are. So the last lap begins, and Robert Sayell is a very comfortable leader here. He's going to have it a little bit more easy this time than he did in the first race. What is going to go on behind him? That really is the big question now. Sayell in a league of his own in this race at least. For 2nd place, Dan Clowes, I think, is still hanging on from Adam Walker just about, but Adam looking good for that 3rd podium of the year. And it'll be a 3rd place to go with his pair of 2nd places from Brands Hatch at the start of the season. But what of Watton and Butcher behind? Leader down towards the double apex left-hander at Kirby. Not using quite as much of the road as he has been thus far in this race. It's been a really measured drive this from Robert Sayell, helped by the collision between Butcher and Watton at the start, of course, on the first lap. Be interested to hear their thoughts about that. But they've both survived at least without too much damage. You can see Watton is still 5th. I'm not convinced he's going to catch Rob Welham, you know. I'm also not convinced that Paul Butcher's going to get past Iyengar, so I think that might be how they finish, with Watton 5th and Butcher 7th. So this will not count as one of Watton's drop scores either. It's not going to be one of his worst 2 finishes of the year. It's going to be a really good finish, though, for Robert Sayell, who for the 3rd time this year is going to come out of the final corner to see the checkered flag and to win in the Speed Group F1000 Championship. A victory in race 3 for Robert Sayell, and let's hope that he sticks around for more races this year. 2nd place goes to Clowes, 3rd place for Adam Walker, and they are your podium finishes from the final race of the weekend. Sayell, Clowes and Walker. Then Rob Welham hangs on to 4th. What a result that is for the 16-year-old debutant. Michael Watton is 5th, Iyengar 6th, then Paul Butcher, Dax Ward, Rob Bailey and Marc Fortune rounds out the top 10. Alwyn Rhodes-Mays 11th, Andrew Wheals 12th, and Peter Lague, the only non-finisher.
Rob, congratulations on your second victory of the weekend.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Yeah, got a good start, and then Paul challenged me into turn 2 and got me inside. I had to hang it in around the outside of him. Took him back up the inside of the right-hander up the hill. He tucked back in behind. I thought, okay, that was close. I nearly lost the lead. Yeah, got it back, and then I see Paul and Michael have a little. I don't know if they touched or that one spun or whatever, but I see it in the mirrors. That left me like a 5-second lead, and then someone went off at the bottom. A safety car came out. All that lead I've just lost, but we had the pace in the car just to go at the right time when the safety car came in, and just got away again. So just managed it.
Yeah, not too taxing, as you say, apart from at the end there. Does this mean we can see you out in the F1000 grid later this year?
I don't know. I might have sold the car, so I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
If nothing else, you've gone away as a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.